What's up everyone, it's Victon. I have a personal favorite for you guys today. This is going to be the build guide for the AoE Mage that I've been playing quite a bit recently. First off, it's refreshing actually just not playing a bleeding edge build, so that's always nice. On top of that, this build actually shreds, and it does just as much damage, if not more, than bleeding edge. I've currently taken this comfortably into the 140s, so actually a little bit more than my bleeding edge build that I did. And it's been working great so far. I really love the Slurpee-like playstyle with Anomaly, where you can kind of just button mash your skills on a pack, then teleport away to the next one. It's fast, it's effective, and most importantly, it's not bleeding edge. What more could you want? So let's get into it. So like I always do, I'm going to go ahead and roll some gameplay footage in the background while we chat, just so you can kind of see what it looks like and if it's something that you're actually even interested in. Do note that what you're going to be seeing is maps in the low 140s. Okay, so we'll start off with the gear. On the screen here, you'll see some of the pieces that I am using, and you'll get a pretty good idea of what stats you need by just taking a look at the screen here, so feel free to pause the video if you want to write it down, take a screenshot, whatever works for you guys. You'll also see the optimal affix list of what we're going to be going for and in order of importance. The absolute best thing that you're going to be stacking here is flat spell damage. That means double flat rolls on your staff, rings, belt, and amulet. Currently and sadly, this is really the only way, at least that I found, to really scale a spell build high into the in-game maps. Just flat spell rolls. No spell percent or cast speed, nothing like that. If you can get those as extra, that's great, but go ahead and make sure we get those double rolls first. Next, we scale wisdom, as that is our main stat, so get that on as many pieces as you can. You will want to prioritize cooldown reduction on your helmet, chest, and legs over wisdom, or say like occult damage, or really anything else. You need those first and foremost. You'll also need to prioritize resource cost reduction on your shoulders and gloves, also above everything else. Note that each of these pieces should be on force shield items. With my current setup, I have about 50,000 force shield and 10,000 HP. And it seems pretty good up into the 140 so far. I do think that I can squeeze about another 10,000 force shield out with better gear, so maybe ending around 60,000 force shield will be pretty good. Lastly, if you can get force shield regen rate alongside the more important stats, that would be a good addition, since we use regen rate on our gems, and it scales pretty well off of that. Alright, with gear out of the way, let's go ahead and take a look at the skill passive tree. I will post two links in the description for two different websites with the skill tree, so just go ahead and use whichever one you like better. Now I'm not going to go over every single node here, but I will briefly hit on each of the main nodes, and we're going to go in the order of what you should pick up first, as if you're leveling as you go. So the first thing that we want to go and grab is this, for an additional status ailment chance score. From there, we're going to want to get more ailment stacks, so there's two of them, there's that one and then this one, and then from there we're going to go over here. Basically, you deal more damage per how many stacks of ailment you have, which is why it's important to be getting max ailment stacks. We also want to get this next. This is a huge node. Now we can apply two different types of ailments, and the types of ailments that we want to apply are stasis and cursed. After that, we're going to be coming up here, and this is the biggest damage node on the tree that we want. So basically, when you apply stasis, which you will be applying 100% of the time on mobs, after 1.5 second delay, any damage that you have done in that time period will be done again, so it's essentially doubling your damage, so a huge node. Another one right here for max ailment stacks, get that before we move on. Next thing you're going to want to get is come all the way down here, and we're going to grab this guy right here, which is some more damage per how many stacks you have of ailment. This one's specifically cursed. From there, you're going to want to get this, which is a huge defensive node. It doubles our force shield. So the build that I have right now with the gear that I have on, I have 50,000 force shield and 10,000 HP. I think with a bit better gear, I could probably get around 60,000 force shield, maybe about 15,000 life. But even what I'm doing right now, 50,000 and 10, it's been working really well. I very rarely die, and if I do die, it's a one-shot, and that doesn't happen too often. From there, we're going to want to go down here, and we're going to grab this. So essentially, like I said, they have stasis on them 100% of the time, so essentially it's just free damage, so 25% additional damage at all times, basically. From there, we're going to want to get some more willpower, some maximum willpower, and then here's some more. And here's some more. After that, at this point in when you're mapping, you're really going to start taking some extra damage. Like I said, past the 100 range, it really kind of starts to hurt, especially up into the 140s. You really need some defensive nodes, so that's where these last two big nodes come into play. So any damage that is dealt that is damage over time needs to go to your force shield, because we have a much higher pool of force shield instead of our HP. So that's why we want this node right here. After that, you're going to be grabbing this down here. So basically the way this works is our chest that we're going to be getting is a full force shield chest. So the one that I have is, I think, 4,500 force shield. So with that equipped, it will be giving me a whole bunch of force shield regeneration. That coupled with the gems that we're using that are the force shield regeneration rate, it recharges your force shield really fast. So it's kind of like in Path of Exile, if you've ever played that with Energy Shield. After a few seconds of not taking damage, you start regenerating your force shield. And with this node and having the force shield regeneration rate gems, it recharges really fast, and it is pretty good. It's certainly much better than kind of like spamming pots for health. It's essentially the same concept, but it frees up a slot for your potion where you can just have 2 willpower potions, because you don't need HP potions with force shield, obviously. So very strong node here. The one right after this is basically the same, but it's for helmets. Currently, I'm not 100% sure if it's bugged or not. I do know that the all resistance chest and all resistance helmet, if you use both of those, that is bugged. But I'm not 100% sure if you use a force shield chest and a force shield helmet, if that's bugged. I use it. I feel like I can tell a difference right now, and certainly when they hotfix the all resistance bug, I'm sure that it would fix this if it is bugged. So I would say go ahead and pick this up, because to me it seems like it's working pretty well. So somewhere in the middle of the build, I didn't mention it, but I would say maybe somewhere in here. Once you're in here, you can go ahead and pick up these nodes right here. Cooldown reduction here, and another cooldown reduction here. And again, we just want to have a whole bunch of cooldown reduction because we want to be able to spam our abilities as much as possible. Okay, so gems are next, and gems are pretty straightforward here. We're going to want to roll flat spell damage as our offensive 2 slots on our staff, and you're definitely going to want 3 of those. I'd suggest going with shadow damage so we can get curse as our second ailment. If you can't grab all 3 of those as offensive 2s, go ahead and get an offensive 3 and put in curse duration. On rings, amulet, and belt, you're going to want to either do transfer time reduction or willpower regen. If you have willpower regen % on your gear, then go with willpower regen gem. If not, do the transfer time reduction. For chest, pants, and helmet, I'd split the slots between force shield and force shield regen rate. Okay, so let's take a look at the skill passives. The way it works on the visual here is the numbers next to the skills are these skill passives, as if they're the numbers from top to bottom and left to right. It's just a little bit easier than writing them all out. I've listed the top 3 most important passives that you'll want to go to first if you're leveling it up as you go. I'll keep those up on the screen while we go over the playstyle. So basically, this is a keyboard mashing build. I always start by putting down 2 anomalies and a plague burst, and that handles all normal mob packs. For blues, I'll do the same and add a solar fall, and for rares, I'll do the same again, but I'm also going to add a tier of Ethylile. And last, for bosses, all of that the same, but we're going to add an additional, an Annihilation. We're just going to spam that on the boss. We went for cooldown reduction so that we can spam everything pretty effectively. I think most of the skills are going to be in the 2 to 4 second range, at least it was for my build with the gear that I was using. I definitely suggest running with 2 willpower potions to help you spam a little bit more, and with that you'll actually also never need to auto attack, so that's pretty nice. You also don't need an HP potion because we're going force shield, so that doesn't help anything. In downtime or in getting to other packs, obviously just teleport around like a crazy madman, and it's easy peasy, to be honest. Smashing all your abilities on bosses, I think it seems like it does more damage than Bleeding Edge. It seriously just melts bosses. And that is really it, guys. I didn't want to dive too deep because I know that it is pretty early on for Wolcen, and I'm sure that things are going to change over time. But I did want to get this guide out because this is a super fun build to play. It's something different than Bleeding Edge. I had a great time playing this, and it actually is pretty strong as well. Do note that I am going to update the Wolcen.dev and Wolcen-Universe build guides on their websites, so you can check the skill tree if anything has changed between now and whenever you might be watching this. All of those will be updated, so that's the best place to get updated skill tree. Check that out. I also encourage everyone to have an open discussion in the comments. If y'all have come up with a better way to scale the damage, I definitely want to hear about it. If you did like the guide and want more of the same type of Wolcen content, I am going to be coming out with a few more build guides in the next few days. So go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button. This is a newer channel, so any like and subscribe actually goes a pretty long way, and I really appreciate it. Thanks everyone. I will see y'all in the next one.